Welcome back to Ode to Ghosts. We are your ghosts. I mean, your hosts. No, I mean, your ghosts. We're pretty much ghosts now.
Yeah.
Will.
And Audrey.
Feels like it's been a really long time since we've done this, even though we just uploaded an episode. But we haven't filmed
in 2 weeks.
2 weeks because
well,
we were...
more than that, because usually we film a few days before.
Yeah. Because we were in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
We did some major exploring. We went to Jerome, the most haunted city in Arizona. Unfortunately, didn't really experience anything haunted because we were there pretty much just during the day, other than like a couple of areas that felt like some negative energies.
We saw some cool things.
Yeah.
So one of the places that I think we all mutually agreed stuck out to us the most was the Lincoln Theater. Is that what it was called? The Lincoln Theater?
Was it Lincoln?
I believe that's right. Mm-hmm. I believe that's right. But it was, you walk in and I think you walk in and it's like a gift shop. And then if you keep walking, then you get to like the actual theater area. But basically the backstory behind that was there was a woman who had gone to the theater one night alone because she had gotten in a fight with her boyfriend that night, or husband, or whoever the guy was. And he followed her to the theater and strangled her in the theater and killed her. And apparently her ghost is still there. And it was pretty creepy.
Isn't like where we stood like right at the top of the theater, like where she was strangled?
I don't know if she was actually strangled up there, but people who have seen
that's where
her,
they say her.
They say that they see her standing at the top of the theater, which is open for people to walk up there. And so we walked up there and we were just chilling up there for a little bit. And we didn't realize until a few hours later when we were reading up on it that that's where the hauntings happen.
Yeah.
But
that was definitely the craziest thing.
Yeah, and there was kind of like a set of a bunch of rooms behind the theater and like a stairwell that led up from the rooms, and that was really creepy. And I don't know if it was just because of how quiet it was and also the fact that there were like a bunch of life-sized statues of different horror movie characters. Yeah. But I don't know. Everyone else seemed...
Some of them made noise and we weren't aware.
Yeah, but I feel like we all kind of thought that there was just like a heavy, eerie vibe there. But again, it could have just been the other factors.
My personal favorite part of Jerome was getting to go to, I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Caduceus, but it's the lead singer of Tool, Maynard James Keenan's winery that he owns in Jerome. And we got to do a wine tasting, and we got to take a bottle back to the Airbnb. And so now that's just like a souvenir, which I was like super ecstatic about. Not haunted by any means, but I mean, to my knowledge, but that was super cool. Jerome is just like a really fascinating place in general.
Yeah, it is just a very interesting town. And like, it's really cool because it's literally on the edge of a cliff. And so like literally the whole town is like 3 roads, but like they all connect. It's like 3 windy roads up a hill, up the side of the cliff, and that's all it is.
But like so many cool shops. They have a bunch of like plaques set up where like different things took place. Like we stood we sat where people would like watch hangings. We looked in an alleyway where that was considered like a red light district.
Yeah, well, the place where the hangings would happen, it was marked as like a public gathering space. They didn't explicitly say on the plaque that that's where hangings happened, but if you Google it further, it says that like it was likely that hangings happened there because that's kind of just where the town met for everything.
Yeah.
And at that time, that was like in the 1800s, like hangings happened.
Yeah.
But it was also considered America's most wicked town for a while because that's where all of the like not great people of that time went to.
Oh.
People who were considered wicked, I guess. But
also, another thing happened in Arizona.
Yeah?
If you would like to tell them about that.
Well,
you found a cool ring out there.
Yeah. Don't know who it belonged to, but I decided it looks really nice right there.
on her ring finger for some
Yes.
reason.
On my left hand. That's it. That's all
Anyway.
that happened.
So yeah, Arizona was cool. If you haven't been to Jerome, go to Jerome. You can buy shit and also see cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
Both highly recommend.
Yeah.
And also drink cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of cool stuff.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, that's life update. So we have 4 stories today. No video, but I think the stories are good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if my stories are good. I've barely read through them. But
What?
you know this about me. I don't read through the stories completely before. So it's like a surprise to both of us.
Okay.
So who is going first?
I want to go first.
I want to go first.
Yes, please.
Okay, fine.
Okay. So,
This better be good.
which one would you like to hear first? I'm going to tell you the title of both of them.
Well, that's what I figured you were going to do.
You'll tell me which one.
Okay.
So the first one is very simple. Just says, my boyfriend has an attachment. Not might have one. Does have
An
one.
attachment to his girlfriend?
I mean, I guess so, but that's not what she's referencing.
Okay.
Second one is, strange things started happening after my mother-in-law moved in. Then I found out about the cult.
It's always the in-laws. Let's save that one for last. That one sounds good.
Okay.
So let's do the attachment one
All right.
first.
Perfect.
Perfecto.
So this one was posted in the Ghost Stories subreddit by Annika Hollis, I think.
Okay.
I think that's how it's like, yeah. Anyways, my boyfriend has an attachment. I had never experienced anything paranormal before I met my boyfriend. We met in October of 2024 and began dating in November. I ended up moving in with him into his apartment in January. I know that's very soon, but we were both comfortable enough to do so, and it helped both of our financial situations. My boyfriend had never informed me that he had believed that he has an attachment before I moved in with him. One night, we got into our first argument, and we had been sitting in the living room, and after I slightly raised my voice, the trash can in the kitchen, which was maybe 10 feet away with the wall dividing the two areas, fell over.
It's like, don't you yell at my man.
It spooked me, and my boyfriend proceeded to apologize to me and informed me that stuff like that happens sometimes when things get upsetting and sometimes when nothing triggers it. Needless to say, of course I believe in the paranormal. I just hadn't experienced it like that. Now, the part that I haven't told you guys is that the argument with my boyfriend was about me and my best friend going to Target to buy a Ouija board that same day.
Mm-mm.
He told me he doesn't fuck with stuff like that, and I told him it's harmless. Nothing bad could come from it. I was sorely mistaken. Now, nothing bad came from the board we had purchased because after my boyfriend had informed me of his past with Ouija boards, me and my friend disposed of it. When my boyfriend was around 11 to 12, his childhood dog had passed away. He was obviously heartbroken, and he was kind of an odd kid from what I had gathered. He told me he was looking through the woods out by his house playing with sticks and dirt, stuff that kids that they're not being able to speak is still happening, apparently, from the last
Only
video.
during the podcast.
Normal stuff that kids do at that age. When he happened upon a Ouija board, now from what I recall from the story, there was not a planchette. I'm not exactly sure what he would have used to use the spirit board, but as a heartbroken kid that just wanted to see his childhood dog again, he attempted to use it. He said he got a few words out, never told me what it said, but he never said goodbye. That is the story he told me that started it all. He would experience things in the home he lived at the time that were unexplainable and not very nice. He even told me one time something pushed him down the stairs when he was home alone. He eventually moved out of that house before he reached junior high and moved to where his parents currently live. I'm not sure if a ton of paranormal stuff has happened there while he was living there because he's never told me any stories of that house. When he moved out when he was 18, he would have stuff in his apartment that would move around, but always assumed it was one of his roommates because he lived with 2 other guys. Fast forward to the apartment we live in now, he moved in there a little less than 2 years ago. He moved in with his close friend who, likewise of me, had no information regarding the fact that my boyfriend might have a ghost. I hate calling it that, but whatever. My boyfriend's close friend only living there for about 9 to 10 months at this point before moving back in with his mom. While my boyfriend's friend told me it wasn't because of what was happening, he is pretty sure it was. My boyfriend is a pretty unserious individual and likes to call this stuff ooga booga shit. but it's just paranormal activity.
Booga booga.
I'm not sure of the timeline of everything, but he said in the beginning of living in the apartment, he would come home to the coffee table turned upside down. The mirrors that were previously on the wall, they were cheap $20 mirrors that weren't very heavy, were on the floor. The Papasan chairs that they had in the living room, instead of the couch in true bachelor fashion, face down on the floor.
That's like a pretty big thing, having the coffee table flipped upside
in the
down.
chairs. Yeah. When stuff like that started happening, he knew immediately that whatever it was not happy to be moving. His friend even informed me that the mirror that they had hung up, you could see into the living room through his room, and he would see shadowy figures at around 2 to 5 a.m. almost every night that he would stay up. Eventually, things stopped moving when he would leave the house, and everything went back to what he thought was normal. When his friend moved out, one of his other friends moved in shortly after. Not aware of the things that had occurred, he talked to my boyfriend one night after living there for about 5 months that he would see people or shadow figures from his room through that same exact mirror. When I moved in, the activity had almost completely stopped by then, until the night that we had that argument. While it was not very bad, sometimes the dishwasher door would slam on its own, or we would hear things in the kitchen while in the living room. We prayed over whatever it was, but it doesn't feel malevolent, so I never really bothered to talk to anyone about it. We were finally moving into our own place because that apartment is kind of a shithole. The rent was cheap, give me a break, but our washing machine had been leaking, so the landlord had to come and remove the machine and found subfloor damage and mold underneath it. Due to that, we decided to stay with my parents until we move into our new place next week. This caused a little bit of unhappiness in whatever it is attached to my boyfriend. We started staying here on Thursday night. It is now Sunday night, and more things have happened than the 3 months that I was living in the apartment with him. My parents have a mother-in-law suite that we are staying in currently. It's pretty separated from the rest of the house with its own stairs that lead to a door outside, except for a door in the kitchen area that leads to a hallway with the laundry rooms and sisters' rooms. Around October of 2023, my parents suffered a really bad house fire that caused my whole family to be misplaced until about a month ago when the renovations had finished. Before I moved in with my boyfriend, I was living in the mother-in-law suite while the rest of the house was still under construction. Anyways, the electrical systems work great, everything's great, whatever. So the whole apartment area, mother-in-law suite, has dome lights that you can dim with a switch that has a dimmer built into it. When I was living here previously, I would dim them all the way down and sleep with that. We started staying here, and on the first night, I passed out pretty fast. The next night, we were having dinner with my mom, and me and my boyfriend are sitting at the dining table, and the medium-sized vase with glass pebbles in it, pretty heavy, moves 2 to 3 inches towards me. I see it out of the corner of my eye, but don't say anything until I look up at my boyfriend. He's giving me that straight face, I didn't like that look. After dinner, we go upstairs and he immediately proceeds to tell me he has never had anything like that so obviously happen directly in front of his face. He explains it as though something was waiting for him to look at the vase so that it could happen. He then proceeds to tell me that the lights in the room the night before would brighten and dim on their own, like not just a little bit, to the point where it was almost completely bright and they would proceed to go back dark again. And of course, as we were having this conversation, the fully lit lights start to dim. Not too much, but enough for us to notice, as if it is responding to what we are talking about. It is currently Sunday night at 2 a.m, and I cannot fall asleep. The previous nights, I had been working all day, didn't give a shit and just wanted to play video games and go to bed. But now, I am sitting in bed next to my asleep boyfriend typing this up because about 2 hours ago, I was sitting on the couch after getting out of the shower, while my boyfriend was in the bed and the lights started to dim and brighten again. I jokingly suggested that maybe the lights just do that, and not even a millisecond after those words exit my mouth, the lights come on fully bright. I'm scared and my heart is racing, and my boyfriend responds, "Maybe he didn't like your attitude." And then the lights go dark again. I can feel my pulse in my fingers at this point. I do not know what to do, but my boyfriend definitely has something attached to him, and I'm not sure what it is, but I don't like it. I'm sorry I made this story so long, but I felt like it needed some backstory. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to sleep tonight because the lights have been dimming and brightening for the past 2 hours on their own. I've tried not to focus too hard on it, but it's just scary. By the way, I know some of y'all are going to be mad, but me and my boyfriend nicknamed it Phil from HR. Trying to put a little humor in a much darker place is easier for both of us, but I'm scared that naming it may have made it a little too real.
What if it's the dog?
So that's the story. What?
What if it's the dog?
Well, but what about the shadowy figures in the mirror?
It could just be a coincidence.
Maybe.
I don't know. I was trying to make it lighthearted. But the fact that it's like messing with lights and stuff, I guess
Yeah.
not.
Probably not.
That one I don't really have any like theories about because like I mean he obviously hasn't provided a whole lot of information about like where he thinks it would have come from. Like we don't know if like anybody in his family has died or like if he has been around like something that he knew could have gotten attached to him or like
Yeah. I'm trying to look at the comments to see if anybody has like any other theories or any information, but I don't really see anything. It was just posted last night.
that was last night.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yikes.
So that's
Well,
pretty creepy. But yeah, there's not a whole lot of other information besides what's in the story. And like, honestly, I didn't really think we needed much more information just because like whatever it is obviously not happy with like change or moving or whatever it is. But if this thing has been attached to the boyfriend
maybe it
since he
also
was
got
like 12
worse
years
with the
old.
girlfriend too.
What do you mean?
That's another example of change.
Mm-hmm.
Dude got a boyfriend. Dude got a girlfriend. And whatever it is, didn't like that very
Yeah.
much.
I don't know. Hopefully, maybe some people listening will have a little more to think about it, but
Don't you yell at my man.
but yeah.
Cool. I'm sorry I don't have much to say about that. I just like okay. Creepy, scary. That's
Mm-hmm.
all.
Okay. Great.
Thank you for your story. My turn?
Yeah.
When I say it like a child. Blender? All right. I'll let you decide which one you hear first. So we've got either I think I have an attachment
Okay.
or my paranormal experiences in Croatia.
Let's go with that one.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to clarify. I need to make sure I know how to pronounce this correctly. Turopolski. 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 Okay. Turopolski. Sorry,
got
no
it?
context. In parentheses on the title it says Turopolski Lug. It's a remote swampy forest in Croatia.
Okay.
Let me make sure I'm on the right thing here. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Once again, not being prepared.
I just want to make sure, because there's one story I have where they sent me like a longer account like in the chat, so I want to make sure it wasn't this one.
Okay.
This one is submitted by Don-Grom in the paranormal subreddit. They were very excited to share their story, and they already said they liked our stuff, and they're excited to watch this episode. So, thank you.
Great.
I already forgot how to pronounce it.
Oh, jeez.
Turopolski? Turopolski? I think so.
Mm.
Turopolski? Turopolski. Turopolski. Okay, I was right. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
I recently discovered this subreddit, and the more I read about people's paranormal experiences, the more I feel the need to share my own. I never really talked about it outside of my family, and even then, they didn't believe me. But after seeing similar stories here, I figured this might be the right place. So here it is, my encounters with something unnatural deep in the forests of Croatia. I spent a lot of time at my family's vacation house in Turopolski Lug, a remote, swampy forest in Croatia. The house is completely isolated, sitting by a river deep in the woods, with the nearest small town about 20 minutes away by car. My dad built it in the late 90s, and since we lived in Zagreb, it became our weekend escape. When I turned 13, he bought me a dirt bike since the forest was full of trails, and there were rarely any vehicles around except for the occasional hunter. One night, my friend Tony, who's from the town nearby, and I were riding through the woods when we came across this strange Egyptian-looking monument, just two large poles standing on either side of the trail in the middle of nowhere. We had been riding for at least 30 minutes into the forest, so we stopped there to rest and talk for a bit. The forest was alive as usual, filled with the sounds of crickets, frogs, and owls, but as we stood there, I started noticing something odd. The noise was fading. Little by little, the forest grew quieter until there was nothing. No crickets, no birds, just silence. Before I could pi- Before I could even mention it to Tony, we heard something that still haunts me to this day. A high-pitched, unnatural scream, almost like something starving and angry. It was distant
Mm.
at first, but it echoed through the trees, cutting through the silence like a knife. It didn't sound like any animal I knew, and something about it felt wrong. Without hesitating, we jumped on our bikes and sped out of there, not stopping until we were far from that spot. I asked Tony what the hell that was, and he shrugged it off, saying it was probably a bear. But the way he said it, quickly, like he just wanted to move on, made me think he didn't really believe that either. When I told my parents about it later, they just laughed and said I was imagining things, and that it was probably a bear just like Tony said. About 3 years later, I had another encounter, and this time it was worse. I was riding alone at night, going deeper into the woods than I had planned. It was completely pitch black, and the only thing lighting my way was the dim headlamp of my bike. I wasn't really paying attention to where I was going until I realized I had gone too far, further than I had ever been alone. Just as I was about to turn back, it happened again. The forest sounds disappeared. A chill ran down my spine as the realization hit me. It was exactly like last time. Then, before I could react, the scream came again. But this time, it was louder, closer, and aggressive. I felt my body freeze, my hands gripping the handlebars. My bike was still running, idling beneath me, but I was too terrified to move. I started scanning the darkness around me, by my eyes what? My eyes flicking back and forth, but I couldn't see anything past my headlamp. The forest was just a wall of black. Then I heard a man's voice. Is someone there? It was coming from somewhere in the trees just beyond the reach of my light. My heart was hammering, but for some reason I felt the need to respond. Hello? I called out. The voice responded immediately. Hello. Something about the way they said it made my stomach drop. It didn't sound natural, like they were mimicking me. It went from a
Ew.
mature man's voice to a younger adult's voice.
Oh.
I swallowed hard and voiced God. I swallowed hard and forced myself to ask, "Did you hear that?" There was a pause. Then the voice answered, "Heard what?" That was enough for me. I twisted the throttle, and the bike roared to life as I tore out of there, not daring to look back. I don't know if something was behind me, and honestly, I didn't want to know. When I finally made it back home, I told my parents again, but they just rolled their eyes and told me to stop making up stories. I still don't know what I encountered in those woods, but whatever it wasn't an animal, and it sure as hell wasn't human. Since that day, I've never been to the woods with my bike after dark. I tried looking into Turopolski Lug's history and any paranormal reports, but I couldn't find much detailed information online. There are definitely eerie elements tied to the area, like the old wooden chapels, which are part of Croatia's rich sacral architecture. Some of these chapels date back centuries and are linked to earlier religions and some other weird practices. As as for the strange lights, shadows, and eerie noises, these kinds of stories are common in forest folklore worldwide. While Turopolski Lug has its share of mystical legends, including the Black Queen and Baba Roga, a lot of what made this place unsettling comes from oral traditions and personal experiences, which may have never been formally recorded. Still, after what I experienced, I know for a fact that something is out there, even if I can't explain what.
So, why are we going out into the pitch black forest
We have
alone
this conversation.
anyway?
every time.
I know.
And like, well, no, I bring it up most of the time too, but like some people just have that like investigate thing, which I do not. Um, he actually, I don't know if it's he. They also shared a picture of the monument, the Egyptian monument that was mentioned earlier. They say it's not actually Egyptian, but as a kid, it reminded me of something you'd see in ancient Egypt, so that's what we used to call it. Its real name is, oh God, this one I didn't even see this comment, so I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's spelled Krcka Vrata, and the C has a little like, so I don't know how that is pronounced.
I'm not sure.
And it's a historical monument in the Turopolski Lug Forest. It was originally built in 1779 as a tribute to the people of Turopolyi, who cleared large parts of the forest for agriculture. The first version was made of wood, but after a flood destroyed it in 1914, it was rebuilt in concrete in 1916. The monument has two decorated pillars connected by a beam, for those who aren't listening, or for those who aren't watching, with an old Latin inscription. It's actually one of the few monuments in Croatia that celebrates human labor rather than war or rulers. Today, it's a protected cultural heritage site, but honestly, standing there at night in the middle of the forest, it just feels eerie as hell. And so I will put a picture up on screen and show you as well.
Okay.
So
Cute.
it's pretty cute.
It is cute. If I stumbled across that in the woods during the
Oh
day,
yeah, during the day.
I
Yeah,
would
sure.
think I would love that.
Somebody said it looks like an entrance to a temple. You were smart to get out of there. Could have been some portal of some sort. Um, wouldn't want to guess where you could end up going after going through it, or if returning was even an option. Then this commenter quotes, before Christianity, Croats, is that how you say that? Like referring to Croatian people, Croats?
I guess.
Adhered to Slavic paganism, which involved beliefs in deities like Perun, god of thunder, Veles, god of earth, waters, and the underworld, and Svarog, god of fire, with worship often taking place in natural settings like forests and around sacred trees. And then OP replies, yeah, I can see how it gives off that temple-like vibe. It definitely feels like it belongs in an ancient setting, especially when you're standing there at night. There's something about the atmosphere that feels almost otherworldly. I didn't mention it in the original comment, but when I was younger, I always felt a strange energy around it, like the forest itself was somehow watching you. The way it's surrounded by trees and tucked away in the Turopolski Lug Forest, it almost feels like it could be a getaway to something else, like you said. Who knows? Maybe it was built in a place that was sacred to people long before it became a monument. I found the bit about Slavic paganism really interesting. It's fascinating how the ancient Croats used to worship in places like forests, where they likely felt a strong connection to nature and the divine. Perun, Veles, and Svarog all sound like gods that would have been revered in a place like that. Definitely makes me think that the area has a deeper, perhaps even mystical significance. It's also pretty rare to see a monument that celebrates human labor and not just war or rulers. And then the word vrata that I couldn't pronounce earlier is a testament to the hard work and determination of the people who cleared the forest for agriculture, which is kind of humbling when you think about it. But yeah, with all the ancient history and the eerie vibes, I wouldn't be surprised if there were some supernatural forces at play. It's always a bit unsettling, but that's what makes it so intriguing. Thanks for the interesting thoughts. I'll definitely be thinking twice before heading there after dark again.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of connection to that.
Everything I
What's
just
it called?
read.
The monument. That's the
Mhm.
word I was looking for.
They said that experience was the last paranormal occurrence. And it was 8 or 9 years ago when they were still a kid. They don't dare go into the woods anymore, especially on a dirt bike at night. As for my friend Tony, I haven't heard from him in a year or two since he moved to Germany for work. A few years after our encounter, I asked him if he had experienced anything else weird apart from what happened when I was 13, and he said no. He still doesn't believe it was anything paranormal. Since all this happened a long time ago, I don't have any evidence, just my story. Paranormal experiences in this part of Europe don't get much attention, and Trollpeyski Lug definitely has its share of strange happenings, but people here are very religious, so they tend to dismiss it as anything otherworldly or evil. I have more.
Oh.
They say, can I add something I didn't mention in the post? And I said, yeah. They say, I did talk to a few locals in town, but most of them just laughed when I asked if they had ever seen, heard, or felt anything strange around these parts. Either they didn't take me seriously or they just flat out said no. But there was this one guy, a retired hunter. He used to tell me about weird noises he'd hear in the forest, things that didn't sound like any animal he knew. One story that stuck with me was when he was out hunting alone one evening. He swore he heard footsteps circling him, but every time he turned, there was nothing there. He thought maybe it was a wolf or a boar, but the steps were too light, almost human, but not quite. Then, just as he was about to leave, he heard a whistle, loud and clear, coming from deep inside the trees. He whistled back, thinking it might be another hunter, but it all went silent. A few minutes later, the same whistle, this time right behind him. He turned, and there was nothing, just the trees, completely still.
Oh
He
my
told me he never went
gosh.
back to that part of the woods alone after that. I don't know if he was messing with me or if he really believed what he was saying, but the way he told it, it didn't feel like a joke to me.
How refreshing it must have been to find someone who kind of like
I know,
shares
especially like when your
experience.
parents don't. We had something like this in the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you were able to find somebody who believes you because I believe you that like
Yeah, which by the way, about that last story, have you heard any update from him then?
mm, not
You should try
recently.
reaching back out.
But thank you, Don Grom. I don't even know like where to
Mm-hmm.
begin to like even talk about this. Um, I believe you 100%. Like we have zero. I'm not gonna say zero explanation for like ancient times and stuff because we have like evidence that like ancient times occurred. But when it comes to stuff
Mm-hmm.
like this, like
Yeah, there could be a lot of history connected to that for sure, whether it's good or bad.
I wonder if you went like you could go like way far beyond that little gate thing and then find like
Mm-hmm. Oops.
a building or like ruins of a building or something. Not that you're gonna go back there, obviously. My God, yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pretty cool
This is
story
this
though.
yeah, this is one of my this might be my favorite story
Mm-hmm.
so far. It's different. It's in a different location than
Mm-hmm.
like I'd never even heard of this place in Croatia. I don't really know anything about Croatia in general, so that doesn't really say much. But um, yeah, really, really cool story.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
yeah, my mind is very blank tonight. I don't have a lot of thinking power, so I'm
That's
just here
okay.
to listen and enjoy and read and enjoy.
Yeah. Isn't that what we're all here for?
Totally,
Just to
yeah.
read and enjoy and listen.
Before we go to story number 3, I did just want to say thank you for all the support recently over the past
Mm-hmm.
6 episodes. I think all but one have gotten over 4,000 views on YouTube. Um, the shorts on YouTube are picking up a little bit. Um, TikTok is still a bummer, dude. TikTok, it's hard to get going on there.
Yeah.
People are so judgy on that TikTok.
I
Um,
feel like, I mean, yeah, there's judgy people everywhere. I feel like Instagram Reels is where people get more judgy. But maybe that's just me. I don't know.
well, at our level, not really, because I mean,
Yeah.
we haven't reached that far out yet.
Anyways.
We have over 100 followers on Facebook
Really?
now
Oh.
because this random um like paranormal page, I can't think of the name right now, um but they like shared one of our posts and then other people shared the post and then it got to, I think we're at like, hold on just a second here,
I was about to look.
we're at 121 followers
Mm.
on Facebook, and it was Sorry, this is kind of off track, but I wanted to try to find.
How long ago was this?
A few days ago.
Okay.
A couple of places shared it, so I'm trying to find the original one.
You'll probably have better luck finding it.
Where is it? Oh, it was Horn Paranormal Research. And got like 2.3 thousand followers. It's just
Cool.
a page about like paranormal research.
Yeah.
Yeah. They shared it, and then it kind of became a chain. And yeah, but we
Awesome.
still...
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. But we still need help getting to 100 on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And on TikTok. I don't even think we're at 50 on TikTok yet.
Our day will come on TikTok.
Yeah, we're at 40 on TikTok right now. But that's not even I'm not surprised.
That's fine. You know what? I feel like with TikTok, it's just kind of like... We need them really bad. I feel like it's luck, honestly. Like,
well, it's all luck.
I mean, yeah, but I feel like you can do a lot better marketing-wise on Instagram. And like really all the other platforms. I feel like TikTok is just so hard to get.
Well, it's so... I mean, everything is oversaturated, but
yeah.
I mean...
Anyways.
Whatever. Thank you.
And also, this is a little off topic, but since we did bring it up earlier, I'll go a little bit more into it. Yes, if you didn't get it from what I was saying earlier.
Which I'm sure
he did propose to me.
Got it.
He did propose to me. Yay. If you guys want to see pictures, you can look at our personal Instagram accounts and Facebook accounts. Well, actually, my Facebook my personal and Facebook might be private. I can't remember. But my Instagram's not. So audrey.mae, M-E-E-M-A-E 16 on Instagram is mine.
Yeah, and all of our stuff is linked down below.
Yeah.
Too. And even if you don't care about our engagement, go follow us anyway.
Yeah. But I just thought that some people, some of our more regular listeners might want to
go follow and subscribe everywhere. We got Reddit, we got Instagram, we got YouTube, we got TikTok, we got Facebook. We got merch.
Yeah.
SpiritTalkPodcast.com.
We would love to start coming out with some more stuff soon.
But we're not going to do that until you buy the first one.
Yeah, we just got to get our sales going a little bit more before we're able to do that. But
last I knew, we had only sold 7, and I knew 5 of them. So, I mean, thank you, but yeah, it's not even about sales. I want to see y'all repping it wherever you are.
Yeah,
get us some publicity because whenever we went to Jerome the first time, both of your parents wore the shirts, and like whenever we went into the Caduceus winery, the lady that was like helping us do like the tastings and stuff, like complimented the shirt. I was like, "Oh, I love your little ghost. Is that like a something?" And I was like, "It's a podcast."
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why like if I care more about publicity than like money or sales or anything. Like money's cool, but that's not what we're.
Yeah, we just want to get our name out there.
Yeah, help us out.
Yeah.
SpiritTalkPodcast.com. Go buy a T-shirt, wear it to your mom's birthday or whatever, and tell her, listen to this podcast.
Yeah, you could do that.
You could
wear it wherever you want.
You could wear it to a funeral. You could wear it wherever you want to wear it to. Just get us out there, all right? I feel like that would be quite fitting. Anyway.
I wouldn't recommend wearing it to a funeral. Unless the person who died is that type of person who likes that kind of stuff. Anyways, yeah, that was our quick little marketing break.
We also got new stuff up here. It's only on the shelves, though. So we got...
Okay, so I'm really, really excited about this. I found this on Facebook Marketplace, and it's a Ghostface figurine, and it's one of the collectibles, like one of the original collectibles from I don't know what year, but...
Are you sure it's an original?
Yeah. It's a collectible. I can
it's a collectible, but is it an original? Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Well, I was going to look at the box.
It's all right.
But anyways, I'm really excited about it, and I keep going back and forth on if I want to take it out of the box or not, and like have like the figurine like on the shelf itself.
The vibe is
But
in the box
yeah, but I was
with
like,
all the other
I kind of
things.
think I want to keep it in the box, so that's why it's like that. Still,
It should stay
but
like that.
okay,
Don't take it out of the box.
okay, I won't.
Okay. And we also have this little red Lucky Cat from it's
Yes,
Chinese, right? Is Lucky Cat Chinese or
yeah,
Japanese?
I believe it's Chinese,
From
but we got it
Chinese
from
culture. We got it from Sedona, Arizona, our favorite place on earth. Also where we got engaged. We got engaged and then we went and bought Lucky Cat.
Yes.
Lucky Cat is going to bring us all the merch sales.
Yeah. Or maybe other lucky things. Who knows?
So yeah, we're going to try to add to this wall as much as we can. And maybe eventually we can start having fans send us stuff to put up on the wall.
True. It's a work in
Like,
progress.
yeah.
You will probably see new things every like video or every couple of videos, just because we didn't want to like overload it with stuff that we just all buy at once, where it's just, you know, cheap crap from Amazon. Like some of this stuff is cheap crap from Amazon.
All of this stuff is cheap crap, actually. I mean, Amazon, Walmart,
Okay.
Amazon,
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah. We don't have to
Amazon,
go all into
Amazon.
that, but
I don't know where the skeleton thing came from. Facebook Marketplace? Somewhere else? I don't know. I mean,
but what I just mean is like I want it to just be things that we find that we just like, and not stuff that we feel like we have to just like load up on for the vibes. It should all be the
real.
vibes, but you know,
So real.
I just want it to just kind of be like a wall full of just stuff that we find that we like. I don't know.
I've never
I feel
heard
like I'm not
anything
describing
truer
it
in my
very
life.
good, but I think that the ones that understand will understand. But
I don't think it's that hard to understand.
for my birthday, he got me a little mini painting of a jackalope, which is like a cryptid that is like it's like a little rabbit with horns, antlers. Yeah.
And it's not up on this wall for whatever reason.
No, because you can kind of see the wall.
Actually, hold on. Let me look at the preview here. You might actually be able to see it. But like,
you can see the wall partially. You can see the checkered mirror and everything. You might be able to see the
oh
little
yeah, you can.
frame.
I mean, yeah, you can see the little gold frame. It's like boop boop boop
But
boop boop.
yes, I did
Yeah.
think about putting it on this wall, and I might move it to this wall at some
be great
point
for
when
this
we
wall.
get more stuff here.
It would go along really
But
well with the little Sphinx cat thing.
that's the thing though, was I felt like I tried putting it in a few different places, and I just didn't really think that I liked it in many places, especially because the frame is pretty similar to this one. And so I didn't want it to be like too much in one spot and whatever. And I was like, I feel like maybe it'll look better when there's more stuff and it can kind of fit into a little space better, since it is a pretty small painting.
Yeah.
But anyways, my point was that he found it because I found it. I saw the post on Reddit of this person that had posted their art, and I really, really liked it, and I thought it was super cool, and so I commented on it.
And this really cool guy was really bored one day, and I wasn't doing this to try to find gift ideas for her, but I just like went into her Reddit history, like her public Reddit history, mind you. Like it was on my phone on her page, and I just started scrolling. I was like, I want to see what kind of woman Reddit she's on, and then I found, I don't know what that means, and then I found this post of this little jackalope painting, and her comment, and it was like, oh my god, this is so cute. I want to buy this, but I don't have any money.
Okay, I did not say that.
No, but
I just said, do you sell these? I like it and I really want it.
But I don't have any money anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then I bought it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, for your birthday, you have no idea. You're never going to guess what I got you. And she never guessed. Yeah. I'm a really cool guy. I got her a ring. I got her a jackalope painting. I got her a liquid death over there. I got her... And I'm just a nice guy.
That's something that a mean guy would say.
Am I mean?
Maybe. I'm just kidding. You're not.
Okay.
But, okay. My point of this whole thing, I still was not able to get to my point because you keep taking the story over for yourself. I was going to give the person a little bit of a shout out because I feel like the people who listen to this might like that kind of stuff because it's like a little creepy. I actually haven't seen their page, but you've seen
The ball
their
wool
website.
thing. Yeah.
Have you? What kind of other stuff did they have? Like, did they have a lot of other types of paintings?
Well, allow me to investigate here for just a moment. It's gone. I don't know. 1
okay,
second.
so, I did find the post, and here we go. I have found it.
Great.
So, it is on ballwool.com. We can put that right there. And the
I'm just kidding. I just feel very lazy tonight. I know I have to do all
or
my
it'll be in
editing
the
tonight.
it'll be in the description.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
A link to her site will be in the description, but yeah, she just makes little paintings. Oh my gosh, there's so many cute ones. And they're okay, now that I'm looking at it, they're not all like cryptic paintings. She has lots of them. There's one of an owl, there's ones of different landscapes, like mountains, forests, rivers. There's like some of bugs and snakes and birds of all types.
I want a snake one.
Yeah. It's kind of like a I think this might be some other type of creature of some sort, but there's that one. That looks pretty cool.
That's super cool.
And they're all hand painted. I believe she sells them like all
Originals.
yeah, like
Yeah,
not
they're not
prints.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to my knowledge.
Yeah, so there's watercolor paintings and then there's oil paintings. She has all types of stuff, guys. Go check her out.
Down in the description.
These are so cool. And the frames, can we talk about the frames? They're just so cute. Oh my gosh, there's a possum one. I have a feeling that will not be the last painting of hers that's on our wall. I really enjoy those, actually. So, yeah.
Cool.
Go check it out.
Shall we jump
right.
into story number 3 now?
Yes. Okay, so this is the cult one.
Or should I read mine first so
No.
that the cult one can be last?
No.
Why?
Because I want to read it right now. All right. So this was posted by Passionate-Pinecone on the paranormal subreddit.
Passionate Pinecone.
Who doesn't love a pine cone? What?
They're all prickly.
They're not prickly. Do you even know what a pine cone is?
Yeah. They got
What kind of prickly pine cones are you
not
finding?
like prickers, but they got like
Prickers?
they got like sharp edges on them.
No, they don't.
Have you ever picked up a pine cone?
Oh, yeah. I have picked up my fair share of pine cones, sir.
Are we talking about the same thing here?
I really hope you know what a pine cone is.
Yeah. These hoes.
Yeah?
They're not. Look. You see those little things?
Yeah?
Those are prickly.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna hold you, fam. Them things are sometimes not fun to pick up. And I know I'm not the only one that would believe that.
Really?
Yeah.
Who else would believe it?
Anybody.
Anybody?
You're the only person I've ever heard say that a pine cone is smooth.
Okay, not like smooth,
You're
like
it's smooth.
a blanket, but it's
you know
not
what I mean.
pointy.
It is pointy.
Whatever. Okay, we're just going to go into the story.
Baffling.
Strange things to...
Strange
sorry,
things.
I'm just so distraught by this whole pine cone thing.
You're the minority here, okay?
Minority,
Pine cones,
it's 1 against 1. There's no majority.
Comment down below. Are pine cones prickly? Yes or no? And I know the answer is yes, so you better not lie to be on her side.
Pine cones are not prickly.
Pine cones are prickly.
Okay.
We're going to go outside. I'm going to go find a pine cone tomorrow.
We don't have any pine trees by our house.
Okay, it doesn't have to be by our house.
Okay.
I'm going to go find a pine cone, and I'm going to bring it back, and I'm going to put it in your hand, and you're going to be like, wow, this is so prickly.
And I'm going to be very happy because I like pine cones.
And I'm going to throw it back outside.
No, you're not. Okay. Strange things started happening after my mother-in-law moved in. Then I found out about the cults. A few years ago, my mother-in-law moved in with us. However, it was supposed to be temporary. We live in a fairly large 3-story house, just me, my husband, and our daughter. So my husband converted the entire top floor into a private apartment for her. She barely comes downstairs, keeps to herself, doesn't talk much. Most days it's like she's not even really here, except for at night. She suffers from what my husband calls night terrors, but I've never heard anything like them. About once a week, always sometime after 3 a.m., she screams, blood-curdling, guttural screams that echo down through the hall.
Get the
through
in-law
the walls.
out.
There's crashing sometimes too, violent thuds that shake the ceiling above us. My husband says she throws herself against the walls, sometimes the hardwood. He shrugs like it's nothing. One night, I got up to use the bathroom. The house was still dark, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator downstairs. As I stepped into the hallway, the scream came, high-pitched, animalistic, and then a bone-rattling crash from the floor above. I froze. I ran back to the bedroom, breathless, and shook my husband awake. She's hurt, I said. You have to check on her. But instead of worry, I saw anger. She's fine, he snapped. We argued until he finally stormed upstairs, only to come back down minutes later with clenched fists and red in the face. I told you, he said through his teeth, she's fine. He wasn't himself that night. My husband, normally soft-spoken and hard to rattle, was furious, shaking. He later told me he was tired of dealing with this, that his mother had been like this for over a decade and he'd grown used to it. But I haven't. Neither has our daughter. And even though he claims she's seen doctors and there's nothing that can be done, I can't shake the feeling that something is deeply wrong. And not just with her. Since she moved in, I've started experiencing things I can't explain. When I lie in bed at night, reading or scrolling on my phone, I sometimes feel 2 sharp tugs on the blanket, like someone is grabbing at my legs. I'll look down, but nothing is there. Once, while standing alone in the front yard, miles from the nearest neighbor, I clearly heard a man's voice call my name from behind me. When I turned, there was no one there, just the wind and the trees. Then, there are the things that I see when I'm drifting off to sleep. They're long, white, translucent strands, kind of like jellyfish tentacles, slowly descending from the ceiling, reaching towards me. I spring up, rub my eyes, but they vanish. I used to think that it was just my mind playing tricks on me, like some kind of hypnagogic hallucination. I think that's how you say that word.
Hypno. How's it spelled?
HYPNAGOGIC.
Hypnogenic?
No. Whatever.
I can't
Hallucination of some sort.
Hallucinogenic?
No. But then I found out something else. Apparently, in the late 90s, my mother-in-law was involved in a religious group. My husband calls it that, but after some digging, I found out it was labeled more accurately as a cult. There were rumors of rituals, strange symbols, and disappearances. He insists it was all blown out of proportion, that they left when he was 11, and that his mother was never involved in anything weird. Yet he also admits that she packed their things in the middle of the night and fled hundreds of miles away, leaving behind most of their belongings and everybody that they knew. I try to believe him, but lately things are just getting worse. My husband, who has never had night terrors, is now shouting in his sleep, swearing and lashing out with his arms and legs like he's fighting off something I can't see. The last straw was a week ago. He started throwing punches and yelling and then threw himself off our bed into his bedside table. I screamed his name and he just got back up and into bed like nothing had happened. It was absolutely terrifying. I was shaking for a long time afterwards. If he would have been facing in my direction, I don't know what have happened to me. He refuses to listen when I try and tell him how scary this is for me, and he says I'm being ridiculous and exaggerating the incident. So I've started sleeping on the couch, just until he wakes up for work. It's easier than pretending everything's normal. Sometimes I catch myself watching him from the hallway just standing there, afraid to go in. It doesn't feel like him anymore. I keep asking myself, is it genetic, some shared trauma, or something darker? I'm not a deeply religious person. I haven't been to church in nearly 2 decades, but I've started wearing my late mother's Celtic cross again. I keep her old rosary, blessed in Rome, in my pocket now, and lately I've been thinking about going back to church, because whatever this is, ... and I feel like it's just the beginning.
Get the in-law out.
Gosh.
Get the husband out. Or get you out.
That's just like, I can't even imagine like having like weird stuff start happening, but then have it start happening like to your husband, like who was previously like normal, I guess I say in air quotes, but like I don't
But it's
know. Like,
what's
that's just
interesting to me is
creepy.
that if they're both correlated to this and like he's aware of this, like why did it start happening all of a sudden? And why hasn't this not just
It
been a thing for
didn't.
him?
She said that this has been happening since she moved in.
No, I'm talking about to him.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I know you don't know, but
It could
it's food for
be,
thought.
yeah, I don't know. It could be like maybe something that was possibly like attached to her has now latched onto him because he's in the house and like he's more connected to her, or I don't know. Like,
This might be the
that's what I would
the
think,
last one
but
was my favorite stories ever. This one might be the craziest one so far.
it's
Like,
hard to say if it's the craziest just because like I can't remember off the top of my head all the stories we've had
but
because I know there's been some that
throwing
have freaked me out, but
throwing yourself out of the bed and like I
mm-hmm,
can't imagine waking up in your own house in the middle of the night and hearing like blood curdling screams,
mm-hmm,
but also like expecting it but not knowing exactly when it's gonna happen. So you're just
yeah.
sitting there like super
I feel
tensed up, just
like
like
also
waiting
like
to hear.
apart from the supernatural part of it, if that's what's happening here, is like hearing blood curdling screams every night. Like, I would be worried that something would actually happen to someone and I wouldn't think anything of it because it's just like a normal thing that they hear all the
Yeah.
time. You know, like I wouldn't want that in my house. I'm sorry. Like,
Well, either way, yeah.
just,
No.
gosh. But I do think it is something supernatural just because of
Oh
the
yeah,
stuff that
like
has started happening to
catching
her.
the
Like,
husband just like standing in the hallway staring at.
no, I think she meant like sometimes she will stand in the hallway and watch, kind of like she wants to sleep in there, like, you know, but she
Uh,
is like scared of
yeah.
him. And like,
Get you a hotel for a
but
few nights, girl,
literally
or
take a
like
break.
forever.
Like, and the stuff that started happening to her, like hearing the voices
A little like
and the things
jellyfish
she's seeing,
thing.
yeah, I just, that's really
This
creepy.
is very unsettling.
Um, And like she does clarify in the comments because when I first read this, I thought it was a kind of like a made up story, like more of like a fiction story because there are groups that post like fiction stories that kind of seem like paranormal stories. So that's what I kind of thought it was at first. And then I read the comments and someone had commented and said, I think this is the subreddit you meant to post this in, tagging one of the fiction subreddits. And she said, should I move it over to this channel? I wasn't really sure where to post. They clarify, say that it's for scary stories that may or may not be true. It might just be your writing style and flair for the dramatic, but this reads like fiction. She responds and said, it's unfortunate that so many people are very quick to call some post fiction just because a person wrote it eloquently, but I get it, I guess, clarifying that that it is
Yeah.
a true
I
story.
mean, people like not everybody's gonna be all over the place with their writing just because something scary happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people are just good
Yeah, like I'm
writers.
one of those people where like if I am writing a story to post something or just like post anything in general, I'm like always fixing my grammar and like making sure everything is spelled correctly. Like I don't know, I'm just kind of
Yeah, like
I've always been that
unless you're
way,
going on
but
Reddit to post this thing that just happened to you like 2 seconds ago, and you're like, oh my god, oh my
even
god, oh my
then,
god.
like I still am like, okay, let me make sure everything is right.
But like me, for example.
Besides like maybe a random typo here and there, but like either way, like someone asked if they have carbon monoxide detectors because sometimes if you don't, and like a symptom of carbon monoxide poisoning can be like reacting kind of strangely. But she says that they do have carbon monoxide detectors and they are working.
No, this is not of this world.
Mm-mm.
Cults are just. Ugh.
She mentioned possibly trying to convince them to do a sleep study together to see if it's some sort of hereditary disorder.
That is a patient I do not want to have.
Really. She said that she may try to secretly set up cameras to see if there's anything else strange happening at night.
Please call
And
this patient
she
and
said,
tell them that their sleep study came back abnormal. No, I'm not doing that.
And though my husband is very annoyed that I will no longer sleep in the same bed with him, it's the only way I can protect myself right now.
I mean, yeah, it's like physical danger now.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you can. When was this posted?
Today, 5 hours ago.
Oh my god. Get some help. Leave.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are trying to make sense of it. Like, obviously, some people are saying, like, do either of them have, like, severe PTSD or anxiety or sleep apnea, sleepwalking, anything like that? Environmental factors like alcohol or drug use, sleep deprivation, just, like, all these kinds of things that it could be. But she seems to be saying that, like, there's not really anything, like, abnormal happening besides that stuff. So, I don't know, but I really hope that she's able to, like, figure something out.
Yeah.
For, I mean, all of them, sure, but, like, do what's best for herself, because that is no way to live. Not even being able to sleep at night.
It'd be interesting, like,
And
if she would
also,
be willing to, like, see, like, go to, like, a hotel or something with her husband and see if he has, like, a normal.
true. You also have to take into account they have a daughter living in the house too.
Mm.
I'm sure that's probably, like, terrifying for her. I don't know how old the daughter is. She doesn't clarify, but
Please get help.
terrible
We've had a lot of these
situation.
stories recently where it's like you just like I know it's hard when like you're the only person that like knows what's going on or whatever, but like you gotta
That, and also, like,
help yourself.
I feel like in these kinds of situations, it can be really hard to, like, because, like, I would assume that she loves her husband and doesn't just want to, like, leave him stranded in this house
Sure.
for something possibly bad to happen. But, like, at the same time, it's like, it kind of also seems like he's very, like, he's getting, like, really
Protective
angry
of
over the situation and
yeah,
is, like, kind of not wanting to reason with her over it,
just kind
you
of like an
know?
is what it is kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then at that point, it's kind of like,
You gotta do what
you
you
may
gotta
just
do
need
for
to get out of
yourself.
that, because especially because she had to do some digging to even find out about this whole cult thing. Like, something seems a little fishy
Yeah,
to
and
me. But
yeah, trying to keep it a secret as like a religious group.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
girl.
best of luck to you.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me share this story.
That's another thing you need to get updates on if you can.
Yeah. Especially since it is so recent. But yeah, I'll save this one and make sure to keep coming back to it.
All right. Final story. So this is the one that I have where they posted originally, which I'm not going to read, but then I asked if I could share the story, and then they sent me a more detailed account in our chat. It was originally posted in the Paranormal Encounter subreddit by late_engineering8585. Title, I think I have an attachment, and it just says, I think I have an attachment that doesn't like my pets, or others being close to me.
Oh no.
All right, and this is what they sent me in the chat. From the time I was 10 to 13, I was in and out of the foster system until I was adopted at 13. Before that, I lived with my divorced mother and her boyfriend. She was a self-proclaimed black witch and alcoholic, and he was a child abuser.
Oh, good.
She used Ouija boards, practiced spell casting, would attempt to curse others, and buy haunted items. When I was little, she would use me in seances. She would draw the pentagram on the basement floors in red paint and have me lay down with each limb at each point of the star.
Oh my gosh.
She
Who
would,
is doing this to their kid?
she is. She would then place black candles on each tip. She said she needed me to contact the dead because children are more in tune with the paranormal. No, it was not fun. Yes, it was terrifying to 5-6-year-old me. We often moved from one place to another, and in each house she brought something evil with her. But of course, she said that the demons were her friends. Because of what I had experienced with her, I have always been sensitive to anything evil or ghost-related. Hearing whispers, seeing entities, communicating with them. I don't remember this, but at one point I had told my mother's friend that she was making a girl in her tummy before she even found out she was pregnant. There was this one spirit, though, that protected me. When my mother was drunk and tried to harm me, she would get cuts on her arms and back and tell me I was lucky. I was grateful to that spirit for obvious reasons. But when I was in and out of the foster care, I lost touch with my spiritual side. I was adopted into a super religious family, and they despised anything to do with the paranormal. But that spirit followed me. It would imitate my adopted parents' voices, push things off of the counters, and try to get my attention in any way possible. If it wanted me to stay in a certain room, doors would slam in front of me when I would try to walk out. My adopted parents told me that it's an evil spirit, and I'm pretty sure it made it and I'm pretty sure it made it mad. I started having nightmares and felt uneasy in my own bedroom. Then one day I had a mental breakdown. Now, I don't remember this or the 2 weeks in the psychiatric hospital. I started biting and scratching myself, threatening to harm everyone, and destroying my room. My adopted parents had the house blessed by a priest while I was away, and then had me blessed before I came home. Everything seemed to be going okay until I would stay for a prolonged period of time at my sister's with her family. My nephew started to be scared to be alone with me while I babysat them, and they wouldn't go to the room I slept in. They told her that they always saw a really tall man next to me. Then we moved into a new home, and I started to hear whispers again. It was never harmful to me or others, so I never paid much attention to it. Whenever I had my door open, it would shut it. I often told it that my door was open for a reason and to stop. And the door would stop in the middle of closing and stay there. I then moved into my sister's new home and lived in the attic. Down the hall from me was the kids' playroom, and one in particular toy had no batteries. Whenever the view from the playroom to me was obstructed by either a door or something else, the same toy would start to turn on. I would apologize and clear the obstruction. I had affectionately nicknamed it Toby. He just seemed like a Toby to me, but then my nephews didn't want to go up into the playroom or want me to babysit anymore. Apparently, Toby didn't like kids or animals around me. Just last year, I moved in with my fiancé and his children. It started off with turning the lights on when we were gone or noises on the second floor at night. My fiancé told me to just ignore it because the more attention it gets, the more it wants to act out. So I believed him and started to ignore it. But whenever we go into the basement, he would get scratched. The fridge was constantly being opened. We would even hear footsteps upstairs and things falling, but still ignored it. Then when I would hear someone running down the stairs at night, our room was connected to the stairs. I read that as a run-on sentence, but it's not. We've even been woken up to loud bangs on the second floor. We just let Toby do whatever he wanted, since he was never really hostile unless we were in the basement. I assumed that was his safe place, and he didn't want anyone he didn't trust there. Eventually, we put up Catholic blessed rosaries on the basement door and the doors to our house because his youngest son, 5 years old, had been having nightmares and accidents at night. He was not doing that until I had moved in. For a few weeks, everything calmed down, but now it seems that Toby is upset with everything and everyone, even me. While we were asleep one night last week, my fiancé gasped and jumped out of bed. It scared me awake, and I asked what happened. He said that something just tried to push him out of bed. He's always calm and collected, but was genuinely startled. The expression on his face and his heavy breathing had worried me. One night our cat was running around upstairs. He hissed and we heard a commotion. Then when we looked at the stairs, the cat was thrown down. It looked as if it was kicked, and we watched as he flew down and missed every stair, hitting the wall at the end of the stairs.
Oh no.
You
Don't
don't
start
mess
messing
with
with
the
the
cats.
animals.
I got up, picked up my cat to make sure he was okay, and yelled at Toby for trying to hurt the cat. The next day, my dog was in the living room. I was in my bed because I didn't feel good, but heard her growling and got up. I was about to enter the living room when she yelped, then ran past me whining with her tail tucked. She was quite literally shivering when I picked her up. Just a few days ago, we heard something fall upstairs. When I went up a little while later, a small board with 2 screws was sitting right at the top of the steps, perfectly placed to where I would have stepped on the screws if I wasn't paying attention. Wow. Our front door that is connected to the second floor has opened in the middle of the night while it was shut and locked. We almost never use the upstairs door since the porch is unsafe right now. Bobby has swept the house and every time finds nothing. It seems like Toby has gotten angry again and is taking it out on Bobby, his son, and our pets. He didn't like my nephews or the family I lived with either. Toby has been with me since I was 8, and I talk to him on a daily basis. But now that he's getting angry and trying to hurt things, I'm worrying. I know he never really liked people being around me, but now I fear that he's going too far and is actually a demon that is attached to me.
Oh, that's not good.
That not good.
I have never heard something so like obviously I've heard of like evil spirits and like demons and stuff, like scratching people. I mean, that has happened, but like
That's still
scratching
pretty
people
rare.
or, you know, like
Kicking animals or like scaring
like
animals.
and placing a piece of wood with nails sticking up at the top of the stairs. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No. That's crazy.
You're like kicking a cat?
Down the stairs? I mean, in any context at all. But like,
In fact, that's like the
holy
thing that
shit.
bothers me the
Like,
most about
no.
this story.
I know.
It's like anything with animals, like and like the dog reacting that way, like
Mm-hmm.
dogs just don't react
No.
like that for nothing.
No. And like at that point, like I feel like it feels terrible that I'm not addressing like the people in this situation, but like the second that like something like that would happen to like one of like if that were to happen to Schmidt or Ned, I'd be like immediately gone. Like I will not be leaving them here alone. They will always be with me. Like where I go, they go. Like I would never like that's
Mm-hmm.
I just have
Yeah.
I
I mean,
just
it's
can't
just
believe it.
because they're so connected with stuff like that. So once they start looking around, or they start tucking tails, or they start barking randomly,
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
that's kind of
Especially because like animals, they
telltale
don't have
sign.
like the knowledge of like a ghost. Like
Yeah,
they
they're
don't
not
know what
like,
a
oh,
ghost
that's a
is.
ghost. This is just something in my house that I'm not used to
Yeah,
seeing,
exactly. So
and it
that's
looks
why
angry.
yeah, so that's why when they start acting up at nothing, it's not nothing. It's something
And
for
especially
them.
running away and tucking the tail versus
Mhm.
just like
And
standing
like
there and like trying to like
out
guard.
loud yelping
Yeah.
like something happens to it.
Mm-hmm.
And also
Oh
cats don't
boy.
just fly down the
I mean,
stairs.
I'm sure some do,
I mean, yeah, well, I feel
but
like she
if
wouldn't have
it's yeah,
included it if
yeah, if
her
it's
cat
abnormal
normally
for the
like threw itself down the
yeah,
stairs. And also like the way she described it, it seemed like it had kind of like
yeah,
well,
like
she said it hit the wall. Like
yeah,
it's not just
kicked it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my god. Oh my goodness.
I mean, she didn't include anything about like the kids being harmed necessarily.
No, but just, like it could get to that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm like maybe figure that out before.
We have another. Get some help.
Yeah.
Leave. Dude,
I
like
don't know what you have to do.
when you and your pets and things start being harmed, you have to separate yourself from either the location or the person, be
Well,
it temporarily or permanently.
the
And
thing with this situation is that it is attached to her and not where she is. So she's got to get herself cleansed or get
mhm,
something done because she said it's been attached to her since she was 8 years old, and
mhm,
she was in the foster care system. Like I'm sure she was in plenty of different places, but
yeah. Oh
I
goodness.
guess like to me, like it kind of sounds like she doesn't want to let go of Toby because
Mhm.
whatever
So
it
many
is has been
memories to it,
attached to
and
her for
like
so
yeah,
long.
used to protect her.
And like I can get that, but
I can't.
well, I mean, if
Well, like for somebody who's like fine with that kind of stuff.
yeah, like
Yeah.
if she genuinely felt like for a lot of her life it was a protective force over her, I could completely see why that would become a comfort for some people and kind of oops, I keep doing that. And kind of just be I guess almost like another family member to her. I mean, I guess it sounds kind of crazy to us because we've never experienced something like that,
Mhm.
but I could see where that kind of feeling would come from. But it's now starting doesn't seem like Toby really is very happy with you. Doesn't seem like Toby's very accepting of your life right now. So Toby may need to go.
Yeah, Tommy needs to go bye.
I don't know. Um
Yeah.
that's about all I have to say about that situation.
I think that's really it. And I gotta get this. I gotta edit this video tonight.
Yeah, we are a busy couple of people, so this is the first time that we've been able to have time to sit down and film since we've been back
We
from
got a whole lot
Arizona, really.
going on.
But
yeah, it's 10:40. I'm ready to get to bed, but I gotta work for that
get to
first.
grinding.
So
You may need to whip out one of those peach Red Bulls you got in the fridge.
nope, I'm saving them.
For y'all that don't know, peach Red Bull got its peach nectarine was discontinued. Very sad thing for most Red Bull drinkers. And so he has had a stash in the fridge. Before he had 3 stashed in the fridge. He just got another one last night from our friend, and it's been sitting in the fridge for a few months now.
Yep.
At least 2 or 3 months.
3 of them expire in October.
He
one of them
refuses
expires
to
in
drink them.
November.
I'm
So,
like, why are you
around that time? Maybe I will. But
like, why are you?
because that's gonna be that's the end of the peach Red Bull. But anyway, I'm not drinking that tonight.
Okay.
We gotta get out of here. I gotta go potty time. I gotta edit. I gotta go to sleep. Thank you all very much for watching. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
See y'all later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. Are we actually leaving?
Bye. Leave. Bye.
Turn off your TV, your phone, your computer, whatever.
Why
It's
are you
over.
still here?
We have stuff to do. Stop watching.